heel bone belonging to the victim of the brutal Roman execution of crucifixion has been unearthed in England. A nail was hammered into the bone of the probable slave in a brutal execution in 3rd or 4th century Britannia. The Celtic victim died between the ages of 25 and 35 and was found to have had thinning in his leg bones, indicating that he had been chained to a wall for a prolonged period before his crucifixion. David Ingram, a project manager at Albion Archaeology, who led the excavation of the remains, said, "We think he was one of the local native population. Archaeologists discovered the man's battered skeleton in a cemetery containing the graves of 48 people. The remains exhibited signs that they had toiled endlessly in hard manual labour. Nearby they found a kind of workshop where animal bones were split so that marrow, which was used to make soap and other products, could be extracted. The team conducted the excavations before a housing development was built in the area in Cambridgeshire. They published the findings in last month's British Archaeology magazine." It's possible that the crucified man, along with the other people buried in the cemetery, were slaves, Mr. Ingram told Live Science. He said that in AD 212, Roman citizenship was extended to all free people who lived in the sprawling empire, and that crucifixion was generally reserved for those deemed unfit to be citizens, slaves in other words. During the crucifixion, the man's arms would have been tied to a cross, with his feet nailed to the ground. This agonising contortion would have made it hard to breathe, and the ultimate cause of death would have been suffocation. Even for slaves, crucifixion was rare and would only have been inflicted on victims for one of the most serious crimes. This raises the prospect that the executed man was punished for a crime such as rebellion or treason against the state. This discovery is one of a handful of examples of a crucified person being found in the Roman Empire, Mr. Ingham said. Another example, discovered in 1968, was unearthed in a 1st century tomb in Jerusalem. Obviously, there are the biblical accounts of Jesus' execution by crucifixion, which have maintained the barbaric method of death in the public consciousness ever since, although the Romans were not the first to employ the grisly form of execution. There are accounts of its use by Alexander the Great, with the Macedonian king said to have crucified 2,000 survivors from his siege of the Phoenician city of Tyre in 332 BC. The practice is thought to have started even further back in some of the first civilizations with the Assyrians and Babylonians. It was also carried out by the Persians in the 6th century BC. In that rendering of the practice, victims were lashed to trees or posts. It was the Romans, ever the innovators, even and perhaps especially in dealing gruesome death, that first used specially made crosses. Although Roman Emperor Constantine I, the so-called first Christian emperor, abolished the practice in the 4th century AD. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share and most importantly subscribe, and thank you for watching.